Today, let us start paper 2. In paper 2, there are two sections. First one is Indian society in general. Second one is tribal India. Today, let us start Indian society. In Indian society, we will study, in the foundation course, we will study the important characteristics of Indian society. Important characteristics of Indian society. After that, we will study social change. Important characteristics of Indian society. After that, we will study social change. First, let us discuss what are the important characteristics of Indian society. First one is, we have to discuss philosophical system or philosophical values. Indian society is characterized by certain philosophical values or philosophical concepts. They are Purusharthas, Runas, the concept of karma and rebirth. Concept of karma and rebirth. Apart from these characteristics, one more important characteristic of Indian society is caste system. Caste system. In the caste system, we will study what are the characteristics of a caste. After that, we will study the concept of dominant caste. After that, we will study feature of the caste system. Feature of the caste system. In the important characteristics of Indian society, we are going to study the philosophical concepts that are there in Indian society. After that, the caste system. In the philosophical values, the first concept is Purusharthas. The name itself indicates Purush means human. Humans. Ardhas means goals. According to Tracian Indian philosophy, Tracian Indian philosophy is nothing but a Hindu philosophy. Tracian Indian society is nothing but a Hindu society. That's why, according to Tracian Indian philosophy, every Hindu has to achieve 4 goals in his life. They are called Purusharthas. The goals of a human being are called Purusharthas. There are 4 goals according to Tracian Indian philosophy. That means, according to the sacred texts of Hinduism, we can say that there are 4 Purusharthas. Everyone should try to achieve these 4 Purusharthas are the goals. According to Tracian Indian philosophy, Hindu philosophy, every Hindu has to achieve 4 goals in his lifetime. They are called Purusharthas. They are Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Tracian Indian philosophy or Hindu philosophy is based on the belief in the existence of God and the belief in the existence of soul. We believe in the existence of God and the existence of soul. Now, these two concepts are utilized by our ancient philosophical thinkers to introduce this concept with the ultimate purpose of ensuring social regulation in the society. See how they articulated all these concepts. Tracian Indian philosophy emphasized or entrusted more value on this concept, moksha. Moksha is nothing but liberation of the soul from our body and its union with the Paramatma. That is called moksha. In the old movies you can come across, all the devotees, they would like to have moksha. Why? Because they consider that is the best reward in their life. Like that nowadays we want to become IAS officers. Why? In the society that is given more value. Like that, in the olden days, more value was given to the concept of moksha. That means liberation of the soul and its union with the soul of the God. That is called moksha. Liberation of the soul and its union with the soul of the God is called moksha. As it was given highest value in the society, everyone wants to achieve this moksha. But in order to achieve moksha, everyone has to achieve artha and kama by following the path of dharma. Artha stands for money or wealth. Kama stands for desires. To be precise, sex desires. Nowadays, not nowadays, even in the olden days also, majority of the conflicts in our society are either for the sake of money or for the sake of females. That's why the competition for the sake of money or competition for the sake of gratification of sexual desires may lead to lethal conflicts also. That's why, to avoid them, they introduced this concept. They introduced the concept of moksha and they emphasized more value. They entrusted more value on this concept of moksha. But they impose certain terms and conditions. If you want to achieve moksha, you have to achieve artha and kama by following the path of dharma. Dharma means right way. Then only you will be eligible to get moksha. These values are strongly inculcated in the minds of the Hindus during the process of socialization. That's why there will be social control from within perspective. It's not possible for us to control the behavior of each and every person by having one external agency, by having one police person to control one person. It's not possible. 85% of the times our behavior will be controlled from within perspective. There are certain values in our mind. Those values are going to control our behavior. This is right, this is not right, this is right, this is not right, like this. Similarly, here also, with the ultimate purpose of ensuring social control or regulating the human behavior, they introduced the concept of moksha. They entrusted more value to this concept of moksha. That's why everyone wants to achieve moksha. If someone wants to achieve moksha, there are certain conditions. What are those conditions? Artha and kama have to be achieved by following the path of dharma. This is the significance or philosophical foundation of the concept of Purusharthas. What is the philosophical foundation? Social regulation. To regulate behavior of the people, they introduced one concept by name moksha. They entrusted more value on that concept. That's why everyone wanted to achieve moksha. But in order to achieve moksha, everyone has to achieve artha and kama by following the path of dharma. This is the concept of Purusharthas. For some people, these concepts appear to be highly irrational. That too, in the wake of the present day technological era, science and technological era, we may feel that all these are irrational. But with the ultimate purpose of controlling the human behavior, our ancient philosophical thinkers introduced this concept. It's not about rationality, not about empirical evidence. Practical proof is not required. Even in our childhood also, our parents may threaten us, or sometimes they attract certain things in order to make us to eat food. చిన్నపిల్లోడు వాడు ఏడుస్తుంటే అన్నం తినకుండా చందమామ తెచ్చిస్తాను అది ఇది అని అబద్ధం చెప్తుంది. అట్లాగని తప్పు చేసినట్ట కాదు, ఎందుకంటే వాడి చేత అన్నం తినిపించాలి కాబట్టి. అట్లా here also, to regulate the behavior of the people, they introduced one concept, superior concept by name moksha, and they impose certain conditions. What are those conditions? Artha and kama have to be achieved by following the path of dharma. The next one is runas, the concept of runas. Runas means these are the debts that we have towards other members of the society from the time of birth. These are the inborn debts that we have towards our family, towards gods, towards teachers, towards other members of the society. You might have come across these terms also. There are 4 types of runas according to traditional Indian philosophy. They are Daiva runa, Pitru runa, Guru runa, Atidhi runa. మీరు మీ లైఫ్లో ఏనే ఉంటారు ఈ పేర్లన్నీ కూడా. Pitruruna, we are indebted to, Daiva runa, we are indebted towards the gods. Why? Because according to Hinduism, the entire universe is created by the gods. As we are part and parcel of this universe, so we are indebted towards our creators. They are nothing but supernatural forces or the gods. You may feel that this is highly irrational, but the ultimate purpose is, by inculcating this concept, they are inculcating strongly in the minds of the people that there is God. Whenever the people believe that there is God, then there will be fear of supernatural punishment. As long as the fear of supernatural punishment is there, so long their behavior will be controlled. That is the logic. Okay, but some concepts appear to be highly irrational, but we have to consider ultimate objective. What is the purpose? What is the objective? We have to consider. These are the inborn debts that a traditional Indian has towards other members of the society. There are 4 types of runas. They are Devaruna or Daivaruna, Pitraruna. Devaruna is towards gods, Pitraruna is towards the parents. Our physical existence is because of our parents, teachers. That means Guru Runa. The darkness of the mind is removed because of the knowledge imparted by the Gurus. That's why we are indebted towards Gurus also. Guru Runa, Atidhi Runa. We are indebted towards the other members of the society, especially the guests. As long as this concept is there, so long there will be cooperation in the society, will help other members of the society. If the concept of cooperation, coordination is not there, then there will be accumulation of wealth in few hands and the have-nots, and any one day that discontent will be exploded in the form of revolution. ఇప్పుడు మనకి ఈ హెల్ప్ చేయడం అనే కాన్సెప్ట్ ఉంది కదా, అతిథిరుణ. ఆ హెల్ప్ చేయడం అనే కాన్సెప్ట్ కానీ లేదు అనుకోండి, డబ్బున్నంతా డబ్బులు దాచిపెట్టుకుంటాడు. పేదోడు ఏం చేస్తాడు, చూస్తాడు ఏదో ఒక రోజు కడుపు కాలినప్పుడు ఏంది, అన్నం తినాలా, బతకాలా, కాబట్టి మనం చంపేస్తుంటాడు. అంతే జరిగేది. దట్స్ వై లైక్ దిస్, టు రెగ్యులేట్ ది బిహేవియర్ ఆఫ్ ది పీపుల్, whenever we have the fear of existence of God, automatically we will have the fear of supernatural punishment. That fear of supernatural punishment is going to control our behavior. That's why that is the purpose here. Similarly, Pitrana, here in order to rear the children, parents have to face number of hardships. When there is no incentive to such hardships, what is the purpose of producing the children? If they are not taking care of us, when we become old, then what is the incentive for producing the children? పిల్లల్ని అంత కష్టపడి పెంచిన తర్వాత పిల్లలు ఖచ్చితంగా మనల్ని చూడరు అంటే ఎవడు పిల్లలు కంటాడు, ఎవడు కంటాడు. పిల్లల్ని ఎందుకు కంటాము అంటే they consider children, we consider our children as old age pension. This is the ultimate objective. Any society, because of biological makeup, definitely will become old. After becoming old, we need the assistance of some other people, young people, to be precise, to be frank. That's why this concept was introduced. Similarly, Guru Runa, knowledge is transmitted from one generation to another generation because of the presence of gurus. If there is no concept of this Guru Runa, then there is no incentive to practice this profession. Automatically learning will be affected, knowledge transmission to the next generation will be affected. Like this, there are number of objectives, but we should never judge these values based on the present day science and technology concepts. Why? Because we have to consider ultimate objective. Ultimate objective is to regulate the behavior of the people. As these concepts were there, as these concepts were strongly inculcated in the minds of the people, in the olden days, there was a social control. There was control of the behavior of each and every person from within perspective. That's why in the olden days the crime rate was very less. Even though nowadays there is very good surveillance, there is a presence of CC cameras everywhere, the crime rate is increasing. Why? Because the control from within perspective is decreasing day by day, day by day. That's why crime rate is increasing nowadays. That's why we have to consider ultimate objective. Don't consider that these are highly irrational concepts. What is the purpose? Why our ancient philosophical thinkers introduced these concepts? Similarly, karma and rebirth. Karma stands for action. Karma stands for action. Not only action, but also the result of that action. That means to each and every karma, there is one reaction that is called karma phala. The concept of karma also incorporates the concept of karma phala. If our actions are good, if our karma is good, we'll get good results. If our actions are bad, we'll get bad results. మనం చేసిన తప్పులను బట్టి మనకు భవిష్యత్తులో రిజల్ట్ వస్తుంది. తప్పులా లేకపోతే మంచి పని చేసామా. ఒకడు అంబానీ కొడుకుగా పుట్టానుకో, వాడి జన్మ సుకృతం రా అంటాం, వాడు చేసిన పనులను బట్టి. ఇప్పుడు బాగా కష్టపడి ఐఏఎస్ ఆఫీసర్ అయితే రేపు మంచి పొజిషన్ అంటే అప్పుడు కష్టపడ్డా కానీ ఇప్పుడు సుఖం అనుభవిస్తున్నా అంటారు. టు ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ కర్మ దెర్ ఈజ్ వన్ కర్మ ఫల. ఇఫ్ యువర్ కర్మ ఈజ్ గుడ్, ఇఫ్ యువర్ యాక్షన్స్ ఆర్ గుడ్, యు ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు గెట్ గుడ్ రిజల్ట్స్. ఇఫ్ యువర్ యాక్షన్స్ ఆర్ బ్యాడ్, యు ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు గెట్ బ్యాడ్ రిజల్ట్స్. సమ్టైమ్స్ పీపుల్ మే బీ ఇన్ పవర్ఫుల్ పొజిషన్, దే మే నాట్ బీ ఇన్ ఏ పొజిషన్ టు రిసీవ్ ది, టు బీ ప్రిసైజ్, టు రిసీవ్ ది రిజల్ట్స్ ఆఫ్ దేర్ బ్యాడ్ యాక్షన్స్ బికాస్ ఆఫ్ దేర్ పవర్ఫుల్ పొజిషన్. కొంతమంది ఉంటారు ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ పొజిషన్లో ఉంటారు, వాళ్ళు పవర్ఫుల్ కాబట్టి వాళ్ళు చేసిన పాపాలకి శిక్ష పడదు. అటువంటిప్పుడు వాళ్ళని ఎట్లా కంట్రోల్ చేయాలా? దట్స్ వై దే ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ ది కాన్సెప్ట్ ఆఫ్ రీబర్త్. ఇఫ్ ఆల్ యువర్ యాక్షన్స్ ఆర్ గుడ్ యాక్షన్స్, దెన్ యూ విల్ గెట్ ది బెస్ట్ రివార్డ్ ఇన్ యువర్ లైఫ్. దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ లిబరేషన్ ఆఫ్ ది సోల్ అండ్ ఇట్స్ యూనియన్ విత్ ది సోల్ ఆఫ్ ది గాడ్. But if your actions are not good, then again your soul is going to take another birth. If all your actions are good, then only there will be liberation of the soul from the cycle of birth and rebirth. Otherwise, the soul enters into another body, again rebirth, again in the next janma also there will be some actions, again there will be results of those actions. Like that, our soul is tied to a continuous cycle of birth and rebirth. That's why the concept of karma is interlinked with the concept of rebirth. If all our actions are good, we are going to get the best reward, that is nothing but liberation of the soul from the continuous cycle of birth and rebirth and its union with the soul of the God. Now, performing Devaruna, that means paying Devaruna, Pitruna, Gururuna, Atiduruna, and achieving Purusharthas by following the path of Dharma, all these are good actions. Whenever these good actions are, that means all these three concepts are interlinked. Whenever, that means the concept of karma incorporates the concept of karma, the concept of Purusharthas also. All are ultimately related to controlling the behavior of the people. This is about philosophical foundation of Indian society, philosophical system of traditional Indian society. Now let us discuss caste system. The important characteristics of caste. What are the important characteristics? First one is, every caste has a name. Every caste has a name. In every caste, membership is because of birth. Membership is by birth only. Your membership in a particular caste is because of your birth. Your membership in a particular association is because of your achievements, not because of your birth. Membership in Civil Aspirants Association, membership in Teachers Association, membership in Students Association, all these are achieved statuses. But our membership in a particular caste is because of birth only. It is not achieved in nature. It is ascriptive. Ascriptive means achievement by birth. That's why membership is by birth only. After that, endogamy, very very important characteristic of caste system in Indian society. Endogamy, everyone wants to have marriage within the same caste. Even today also it is being practiced rigidly, barring few exceptions. We can come across killing of the children when they violate the principle of endogamy. As this, here itself I will tell one more characteristic, caste councils. Caste councils. To enforce the norms and customs of each and every caste, there are caste councils. The elders of a particular caste, they form one caste council to settle the disputes or to enforce the norms and customs of the society among its members. If the people violate or if the people disobey the orders of the caste council, then it's not possible for them to survive. Why? Because people are, even today also people are segregated along caste lines. Without obtaining cooperation from the members of the same caste, it's not possible for us to survive in this society, except we belong to highly influential, higher socio-economic category. That's why no one dares to disobey the orders of the caste councils. That's why if a female marries a person outside their caste, if the caste council orders death punishment, parents also kill their children. This happened in northwestern part of India, in Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. This happened. Why? Because if they disobey the orders of the caste councils, then their survival becomes difficult. The marriage of the remaining children becomes difficult. That's why no one dares to disobey the orders of the caste councils. Caste councils exercise enormous influence on the members of that particular caste. That's why existence of caste council is another important characteristic. After that, we can come across hierarchy. Hierarchy. That means ranking. All the castes which are there in our society, they are given one rank. One caste is given one rank, another caste is given another rank, another caste is given another rank. Like this, all the castes are arranged in a hierarchical manner, in a ranking manner. Based on the position in that hierarchy, they are given certain privileges. And they are insisted to accept certain disabilities. For the higher caste, number of privileges are given, and the lower caste, number of disabilities are imposed. In the olden days, occupational restrictions were also there. Even today also we can come across Brahmins. Brahmins practice priestly and teaching activities. Kshatriya practiced warrior activities and administrative activities. Vaishyas followed trade and agriculture. And the Shudras followed uncleared occupations. Any caste, they were given ranking also like that. Brahmins first position, Kshatriyas second position, Vaishyas third position, Shudras fourth position. Higher caste can practice the occupation of their caste as well as the occupations of the lower caste. But the lower castes are not allowed to practice the occupations of the higher caste. Consider Kshatriyas also. Even on the Kshatriyas, kings also, there are certain restrictions. They can follow warrior and administrative activities. Even they can carry out agriculture and trade. Even they can carry out unclean occupations. But they are not allowed to practice the occupations of Brahmins, that is priestly and teaching activities. That means occupational restrictions are there. They can practice the occupations of the concerned group or the occupations of the lower groups, but not the occupations of the higher groups. Similarly, there are the higher caste people, they are given certain privileges also at the time of conducting certain rituals or at the time of certain festivals. Higher caste people are given more importance in those rituals. Lower caste people, they are not allowed to enter into the temples. Even today also we can come across temple entry movements. Like this, and the lower caste people we can come across number of disabilities. That's why because of the presence of hierarchy, we can come across ranking. Based on the ranking, certain castes are given, especially higher castes are given privileges, and the lower caste disabilities are imposed. Even with respect to commensality also. Even with respect to commensality means sharing of food or water or both. Even with respect to sharing of food also there are restrictions. If you go to rural areas, even today also you can come across. The lower caste people of that particular village, they are allowed to have food in the communal feast or in a feast related to marriage only at the end of that function. పెళ్లి జరుగుతుంటే భోజనాలకు హయ్యర్ క్యాస్ట్ వాళ్ళే కూర్చోవాలి. ఆ ఎస్సీ కాలనీ ఎస్టీ కాలనీ నుంచి వచ్చిన వాళ్ళు ఎవరైనా ఉంటే వాళ్ళు లాస్ట్లోనే కూర్చోవాలని ఆర్డర్స్ కూడా ఇష్యూ చేస్తారు. If they want to eat by sitting in the beginning, definitely there will be punishment to those people. That's why you can come across separate plates, separate glasses also for them. One higher caste person may be there, and he may be having authority over 100 acres of land. There may be many lower caste people working in his field. That's why for those people separate plates, separate glasses will be arranged. That means they are not allowed to have feast with the remaining members of the society. That means caste-based restrictions are there. All these are the characteristics of the caste or caste system. Each and every caste has a name, and membership in a particular caste is because of birth. And in every caste we can come across practice of endogamy. We can come across the enormous influence of caste councils, existence of caste councils, enormous influence of caste councils, existence of hierarchy. Based on the hierarchy, privileges, disabilities, commensality, all these are the characteristics of caste. Now let us discuss the dominant caste. Even though there are a number of castes in our society, certain castes are considered as dominant caste. If you go to Andhra Pradesh, Reddis and Chaudharis are considered as dominant caste people. Why? Because they are influencing certain aspects of the societal life. How a particular caste acquires dominance, how a particular caste becomes dominant. This was studied in detail by a sociologist by name M.N. Srinivas, very popular sociologist. He studied the concept of dominant caste in a village near Mysore. There is a village by name Rampura. These names are not so important. In near Mysore, he studied the concept of dominant caste, and based on his observations, he gave the definition also. He gave the criteria also. He gave the definition of the dominant caste, and he gave the criteria for a caste to become dominant caste. He said that for a caste to become dominant caste, there must be numerical preponderance. Number wise, they must be more. Numerical preponderance must be there, and at the same time they must have preponderant economic and political power. Preponderant economic and political power. And in the hierarchy, the status in the hierarchy is called ritual status. The hierarchy or the ritual status should not be too low. Say for example, if the power position is captured by a person belonging to intermediary caste, people may accept. But if a person from untouchable caste becomes MLA, even the local leaders also will not listen to his orders. Why? Because people can't digest. That's why for a caste to become dominant caste in the ritual status, even if it is there at the intermediate level, people will accept. But if it is there at the lowest level, people will not accept. Even though they have numerical preponderance, even though they have economic power, political power, people will not accept their dominance whenever they are at the lowermost stage in the hierarchy. That's why he said that there must be numerical preponderance, there must be preponderant economic and political power, provided its status in the local caste hierarchy. Local caste hierarchy, this is very, very important. Why? Because in a particular region, the rank of a particular caste may be at one position. In some other region, that position may change. Reddis are considered as superiors in the caste hierarchy in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. But if you go to Karnataka, they are considered as BCs. That's why local caste hierarchy is important. In the local caste hierarchy, the concerned caste must not be too low. That means even if they are intermediary, people will accept. But if they belong to lowest category, people will not accept. That means ritual status should not be low. Ritual status should not be too low. Should not be too low. Provided it has Western element. Western element means the number of people in a particular caste who are educated in Western education, not traditional education, Western education. That means the present day education. The number of people who are educated in Western education or the formal education system, and the number of people who are there in the professional services and administrative services. ఆ క్యాస్ట్లో ఎంతమంది చదువుకున్నోళ్ళు ఉన్నారు, వాళ్ళు ఎంతమంది ప్రొఫెషనల్ సర్వీసెస్లో ఉన్నారు, ఎంతమంది అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్లో ఉన్నారు అనేది కూడా ఇంపార్టెంట్. అందుకని ఈ నాలుగిటిని కలిపి ఆయన ఒక డెఫినేషన్ ఇచ్చాడు. A caste is said to be dominant when it preponderates numerically, when it also wields preponderant economic and political power, provided its status in the local caste hierarchy is not too low, along with the presence of Western element. చెప్పడానికి మీకు అర్థమయ్యే దానికోసం 4 క్రైటీరియా చెప్పాను, కానీ వీటన్నిటిని కూడా డెఫినేషన్ ఎట్లా పెట్టాలి? A caste is said to be dominant when it preponderates numerically, when it also wields preponderant economic and political power, provided its status in the local caste hierarchy is not too low, along with the presence of Western element. Whenever a caste becomes dominant, it exercises enormous influence in the social sphere, economic sphere, political sphere. Am I correct? In the social sphere, with respect to celebration of festivals, with respect to the priority in the rituals, they exhibit enormous influence. With respect to settlement of disputes, with respect to elections, they exercise enormous influence. That's why whenever a caste becomes dominant, it exercises enormous influence in the social, economic and political aspects of the village life. This is about the concept of dominant caste. This is the concept as explained by M.N. Srinivas. But here also there are certain exceptions. Numerical preponderance may not always be the criteria. If you go to Andhra Pradesh, Reddis and Chaudharis who are considered as dominant caste people, they are less than 10% of the population. So all the criteria need not to be satisfied, but he has given these 4 criteria. This is about the concept of dominant caste. And the last concept is feature of the caste system. The last concept is feature of the caste system. Is it going to survive in the future or not? That is important. Even though people advocate that caste system must be eliminated, all these are ideals. In reality, it is not possible for us to remove the caste system. Ideally, we may speak, but in reality, it is not possible for us to survive. Why? Because first of all, caste provides identity and identity base. Identity and base. A particular person can become a politician, can become MLA or minister all of a sudden, even though he did not dedicate his entire life for the politics. Suddenly, a particular person may get MLA ticket or MP ticket in the elections based on his membership in a particular caste. He is going to get votes also based on his membership in a particular caste. నా మొహం అందరికీ తెలుసా లేదా, నేను సొసైటీకి ఏదో చేశానని కాదు. నేను ఉన్నాను అనుకోండి, ఒక నియోజకవర్గంలో రెడ్డిస్ ఎక్కువ ఉన్నాను అనుకోండి, నన్ను నిలబెట్టాను అనుకో, రెడ్డిస్ అందరూ ఓట్లు వేస్తారు. ఏంటంటే క్యాస్ట్ వల్ల నాకు ఐడెంటిటీ, అంతేగా నేనేదో అక్కడ వాళ్ళకి కాంట్రిబ్యూట్ చేసినట్టు కాదు. దట్ హ్యాపెండ్ ఈవెన్ టుడే ఆల్సో. ఇన్ ది రీసెంట్లీ హెల్డ్ ఎలక్షన్స్ ఆల్సో ది సేమ్ థింగ్ హ్యాపెండ్. I need not to give the names of those politicians and MLAs also. That's why caste provides identity, and identity one base also, so base for social support. Second one is caste based reservations. Caste based reservations. Caste based reservations. See, because of reservations, some people are going to get the benefits. Definitely some people are not going to get the benefits. Those people who are not getting benefits because of caste based reservation, they may oppose it. That means higher caste people may oppose it. Then those people who are getting jobs because of caste based reservation, they may support it. Then automatically people are divided into two groups on the basis of their interests. Some people want to eliminate the reservation system, some people want to retain the caste system. Here all the people who are not getting benefits because of the presence of caste based reservation, they want to have unity. That's why they will form one group. These people will form one group. Always there will be conflict of interest, always these people fight with each other. As long as the caste based reservation is there, so long there is caste based polarization of the people, so long the future is going to survive. చిన్నప్పటి నుంచే మనకు నూరి పోస్తూ ఉంటారు, మన క్యాస్ట్ వాళ్ళు సపోర్ట్ లేకపోతే మనం బతకలేము అని చెప్పేసి. ఎందుకంటే దిస్ ఇస్ ద రీజన్. వన్స్ అపాన్ ఎ టైమ్ caste based reservation was justifiable. Why? Because by the time of independence, caste based occupational restrictions were there. That's why entire caste was backward. But in these 75 years of independence, even in the lower caste also some people got benefited. That's why entire caste is not backward nowadays. That's why caste based reservation is not suitable to the present day circumstances. In spite of that, in order to avoid the loss of vote bank, people would like to continue, the politicians would like to continue the caste based reservation. Once again, what is the purpose of reservation? In order to uplift the backward sections. Once upon a time the backwardness was on the basis of membership in a particular caste. Why? Because occupational restrictions were there on the basis of membership in a particular caste. Caste based restrictions ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి, occupational restrictions ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి caste backward. ఇప్పుడు మధ్యలో కొంతమంది caste based reservation వారు కొంతమంది పైకి వచ్చారు. Now the entire caste is not backward. On one side, governments are supporting all the people, commissions, National Commission for BCs, National Commission for SCs, STs, they are supporting reservation. On the other side, when they are giving reservation to some other people, they are not accepting. Muslims recently held elections, Muslim reservation became an issue. One commission was appointed, entire Muslim category was not given reservation, only some people were given reservation on the basis of their social economic backwardness, but that is criticized. And even the courts also giving judgment that we cannot consider a particular group as a homogeneous group. Homogeneous group means all the group must be similar. That means socially, economically, politically they must be similar. When the courts themselves are admitting that we can't consider a particular caste as a homogeneous group, how is it possible to justify the caste system? It's not possible. If the people argue like this, whatever may be the rationality, people may brand me, this person belonging to higher caste, that's why he is against reservation. People may brand me also. Am I correct or not? In such circumstances, there will be polarization of the people. As long as the conflicts are there, so long these castes are going to survive. Caste based reservations in the education, and caste is acting as a pressure group. Pressure group means what we cannot do as an individual can be done by forming a group. నేను పోయి పలానా రవీంద్ర రెడ్డి అంటే నాకు అపాయింట్మెంట్ ఇవ్వకపోవచ్చు, కానీ నేను పలానా డాక్టర్స్ అసోసియేషన్ మెంబర్నను లేకపోతే పలానా సివిల్ ఆస్పిరెంట్స్ అసోసియేషన్ మెంబర్ని అంటే ఐఎమ్ రిప్రజెంటింగ్ వన్ గ్రూప్. దట్స్ వై ఐ విల్ బి గివెన్ యాక్సెస్ ఆర్ అపాయింట్మెంట్. Like this, what we cannot do individually can be done by forming a group. That's why the caste is acting as such group. Why? Because the caste is saying that we belong to one group, our interests are same. That's why we cast our votes. If you do so and so things or so and so incentives to our caste, మా క్యాస్ట్ కోసం మీరు రిజర్వేషన్ ఇస్తేనో మా క్యాస్ట్కి ఒక కార్పొరేషన్ ఏర్పాటు చేస్తేనో మీకు ఓట్లు వేస్తాం. అందుకని వీళ్ళ దెబ్బకు తట్టుకోలేక వాళ్ళు ఓకే అంటారు. దట్ మీన్స్ క్యాస్ట్ ఈజ్ యాక్టింగ్ యాజ్ వన్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ గ్రూప్. బికాస్ ఆఫ్ కామన్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ దే ఆర్ ఫార్మింగ్ వన్ గ్రూప్ and they are exercising pressure on other groups. That's why caste can be considered as one interest group or pressure group. As long as the people are forming pressure groups on the basis of caste, so long there is division of the society into different castes and it's not possible for us to achieve unity. That's why so long that caste is going to survive. That means caste is acting as pressure group. Caste as a pressure group. Apart from this, the caste itself has tremendous adaptability, adjustment. Once upon a time there were number of restrictions. Nowadays people themselves are breaking those restrictions. Even today also we can come across practice of endogamy. But if the powerful people violate that endogamy, no one is going to comment. Am I correct or not? Commensal restrictions are there. If your friend belongs to SC category and if he becomes an IAS officer, and after inviting him to your marriage, if you ask him to sit at the end of the communal feast, are you going to survive? నీ ఫ్రెండ్ ఒకడు ఉన్నాడు ఎస్సీ అనుకోండి, ఆ తర్వాత నీ పెళ్ళికి పిలిచారు, అతను కలెక్టర్ అయ్యాడు. కలెక్టర్ అయినా కూడా నువ్వు ఎస్సీ కాబట్టి తినేటప్పుడు పెళ్లి భోజనం లాస్ట్లో కూర్చుంటే ఒప్పుకుంటారు. నెక్స్ట్ రోజు నీ మీద SC ST కేసు ఉంటుంది, అవునా కాదా? కాబట్టి మనమే అడ్జస్ట్ అయిపోతున్నాం. దట్ మీన్స్ పీపుల్ దెమ్సెల్వ్స్ ఆర్ అడ్జస్టింగ్. దట్ మీన్స్ క్యాస్ట్ హ్యాస్ ట్రెమెండస్ అడ్జస్టబిలిటీ ఆర్ అడాప్టబిలిటీ. బికాస్ ఆఫ్ దట్ అడాప్టబిలిటీ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో the caste is surviving. The caste has tremendous adaptability. These are the important reasons for the survival of the caste system. As long as we are getting identity and social base on the basis of our membership in a particular caste, as long as there are caste based reservations, as long as the caste is acting as a pressure group, as long as the caste has the adaptability, so long the caste is going to survive. These characters or these factors are not going to perish in the nearby future. That's why definitely caste is going to survive. This is the feature of the caste system. Now let us discuss social change. Social change. In our society, Indian society, that means that Indian society is nothing but the society during Vedic period. That is nothing but Hindu society. After the Vedic period existed from 1600 BC. 1600 BC నుంచి 1600 BC నుంచి మనకు వేదిక్ పీరియడ్ ఉంది. అయితే 6th century BCలోనే మనకు జైనిజం, బుద్ధిజం వచ్చాయి. ఆ తర్వాత ఇస్లాం వచ్చింది, క్రిస్టియానిటీ వచ్చింది. The Indian society was changed because of origin of Buddhism, because of origin of Jainism, because of advent of Islam, Christianity, because of all these things certain changes were brought about. In your history anyway you are going to study the impact of Buddhism, the impact of Jainism, the impact of Islam, the impact of Christianity. You are going to study anyway in your history. And after that we got independence. After independence we started ruling ourselves. Then in order to bring about significant changes, we adopted democracy in our Indian society. In order to bring about significant changes in the society, we want to bring about changes in the village. If we consider village as the social unit, if we bring about village based development, if all the villages are developed, automatically India will be developed. That's why they want to bring about mainly social change in the villages. It doesn't mean that they concentrate only on the villages but also on other aspects. During this process, certain factors influenced the social change significantly. What are those factors? First one is media. Media influenced social change. After that, Panchayat Raj institutions influenced social change. Media influenced social change. Panchayat Raj institutions influenced social change. Because of media only, social awakening was brought about. because of media only, employment opportunities we are coming to know about it. Skill upgradation opportunities we are coming to know about it. By using the media, we are making economic transactions so easy. That means if you want to go to Tirumala, if you know the rush in Tirumala, accordingly you plan, accordingly you book the tickets. Am I correct or not? That's why decision making has become easy. Then transportation, communication have become so easy. That's why because of media, social change was brought about, social awakening was brought about, and the exploitation of the weaker sections of the society was exposed. See, whenever there is child labor in a particular minister's home, it was revealed, it was exposed because of the sting operations conducted by many media agencies. And the woman, the subordination of the woman was dealt with by the media. Why? Because through media, the women came to know about their rights. That's why they were able to resist the dominance of the husbands. In certain cases, because of awareness, they revolted against the husbands, they took divorce, and they are able to survive independently. It's all because of media. Because of media, they came to know about their rights. They came to know about different legal remedies that are available. They came to know about different developmental opportunities, the potential in them, the developmental opportunities that are available for them. Like this, because of media, the exploitation of the weaker sections of the society was exposed, and social awakening was brought about, child labor was dealt with, and at the same time economy, employment opportunities, the awareness with regard to availability of employment opportunities. If you register your name in naukri.com, then you will get repeatedly notifications with regard to availability of employment opportunities at so and so place. That is digital media. Like this, we are coming to know about the availability of employment opportunities in different places, and promotion of different varieties of goods and services. Economy is developed. Why? Because different companies, they are advertising their products. That's why the demand is being generated. That's why their goods are being sold. That's why revenue is being generated. Like this, because of media, social awakening, economic development, even political development also, media is acting as a watchdog on the functioning of the government. Media is influencing electoral outcome also. Media is enlightening the public about their political rights also. Like this, media is responsible for bringing about social, economic and political development. And at the same time, Panchayat Raj institutions, through Panchayat Raj institutions, we try to bring, even today also we are trying to bring about a democratic decentralization and development in the villages. Through Panchayat Raj system, we have provided reservation to weaker sections. We have provided reservation to SCs, we have provided reservation to STs, we have provided reservation to OBCs, we have provided reservation to women. That means we can come across a social empowerment. And at the same time, by having regular elections, we are ensuring accountability of the rulers to the ruled. That's why, because of that accountability, because in order to avoid the questioning by the public, because of regular elections, they are resorting to at least some developmental activities. That's why it is responsible, because of Panchayat Raj institutions also there is social development. Economic development. Different villages have different peculiar problems. That's why we are giving funds to local governments. They are utilizing those funds for the sake of the location specific needs. The ZP high schools and the MP high schools, actually these are being financed because of the funds given to local bodies. అందుకే వాటికి పేర్లు ZP high school, MP high school అని చెప్పేసి. Why? Because they are being financed because of the grants given to local bodies. Like this, PRI is responsible. And these are because of media, because of Panchayat Raj institutions, social change is brought about. And education also, because of education, social change was brought about. Because of media, education was delivered. In the absence of digital media, digital communicating medium, there was no education at the time of Corona also. Corona appudu ee digital media ane concept lekapothe evariki chadavu anedi kuda ledhu. Through digital media, we are enhancing the literacy also. We are bringing about penetration even into the remote areas also. Now, even before this, in the olden days also, because of this media, certain changes were brought about in the society. Those changes can be called with certain specific terms. One is Sanskritization. Second one is Westernization. Third one is modernization. Sensitization means it was observed before independence. It was observed before independence. In the olden days, and the lower caste number of disabilities were imposed, and the higher caste, for the higher caste, number of privileges were given. Instead of fighting against the system, everyone wants to have membership in higher caste. Why? Because if we change our membership from lower caste to higher caste, then the disabilities can be avoided and privileges can be obtained. Here privileges or disabilities are because of our membership in a particular caste. Membership in a particular caste is because of birth. Even though membership is because of birth, sometimes we can change the membership by following the lifestyle of the higher caste. If the lower caste imitate the lifestyle of the higher caste, in due course of time, on any one day, the higher caste people accept the lower caste people also as their members. మీకు రిచ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ 10 మంది ఉన్నారు, మీరు మిడిల్ క్లాస్ చెందిన వాళ్ళు అనుకోండి. ఆ రిచ్ క్లాస్ పీపుల్తో రోజు తిరుగుతూ ఉన్నారు అనుకోండి, కొన్ని రోజులకి వాళ్ళ గ్రూప్లో మిమ్మల్ని కూడా యాక్సెప్ట్ చేసేస్తారు. అవునా కాదా? లైక్ దిస్, ఇన్ ది ఓల్డెన్ డేస్, ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు అవాయిడ్ ది డిజేబిలిటీస్, ది లోయర్ క్యాస్ట్ పీపుల్ ఇమిటేటెడ్ ది లైఫ్ స్టైల్ ఆఫ్ ది అప్పర్ క్యాస్ట్ పీపుల్. The imitation of the lifestyle of the upper caste people by the lower caste people is called sensitization. If the lower caste people imitate the lifestyle of the Brahmins, that is called Brahmin model of sensitization. If the lower caste imitate the lifestyle of the Kshatriyas, then that is called Kshatriya model of sensitization. If the lower caste imitate the lifestyle of the Vaishyas, then that is called Vaishya model of sensitization. If the lower caste imitate the lifestyle of the Shudras, then that is called Shudra model of sensitization. Sir, Shudras themselves are the lowest group, then who will imitate the lifestyle of the Shudras? Don't think that Shudras are the lowest groups. Untouchables are the lowest groups. Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Shudras, they wear sacred thread. Janjam antaru kada, adi eskuntaru. Untouchables are different. Those people who are considered as untouchables, they belong to untouchable category. Now those people who do not wear sacred thread and who do not come under the category of untouchability, they belong to Shudras. How that Shudra group and how that untouchable group came into existence, that is not required for you at this point of time. Now consider Reddis, they won't wear sacred thread and at the same time they are not untouchables, they are Shudras. Similarly Chaudharis, they are also Shudras. All those people who are not considered as untouchables and who do not wear sacred thread, they belong to the category of Shudras. Now nowadays we can come across the dominance of the Shudras. Reddis are dominant caste people, Chaudharis are dominant caste people, actually these are Shudras. Now imitation of the lifestyle of the, but even though they belong to Shudra category, they emerged as dominant caste people. Why? Because they acquired more money, they acquired more power, they acquired more western element. That's why they emerged as powerful groups in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and some other areas. That's why the untouchable people, in order to identify themselves with the top ranking group, they started following the lifestyle of the upper caste people. That is called Shudra model sensitization. Understood? Don't think that Shudras are the lowest category. That's why total 4 models of sensitizations are there. One is Brahmin model, another one is Kshatriya model, another one is Vaishya model, and another one is Shudra model. Kshatriya model? It depends upon their dominance in that particular area. In certain areas, Brahmins may be powerful. In certain areas, Kshatriyas may be powerful. In the olden days, Kshatriyas were given a lot of importance. That's why people would, in order to identify themselves with the Kshatriyas, they followed the lifestyle of Kshatriyas. But some people consider that rather than Kshatriyas, Brahmins are powerful. Why? Because even the king also has to respect a Brahmin. That's why those people who followed the Brahmin lifestyle, that is called Brahmin model of sensitization. It depends upon individual interests. నీకు పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ అంటే ఇష్టం ఉండొచ్చు, నాకు ఇంకోటి ఇష్టం ఉండొచ్చు. అట్లా వాళ్ళ దృష్టిలో ఒక్కొక్కరు ఒక్కొక్కటి. వాడికి క్షత్రియ మోడల్లో ఫాలో అవ్వాలనిపించవచ్చు, బ్రాహ్మణ్ మోడల్లో ఫాలో అవ్వాలనిపించవచ్చు. అండ్ వెస్టర్నైజేషన్ ఈజ్ వెరీ సింపుల్. The social change brought about in Indian society because of contact with Western countries. The Europeans came to India. Because of entry of Europeans into Indian society, certain changes were brought about. Social change, number of social reform movements were introduced. Economic changes were brought about by the British people, who themselves are Europeans. And political developments, the present day political system is because of the UK political system only. The British administrative system has significant influence on the origin of our Indian system. మీరు పాలిటీలో కూడా చదువుతారు, సోర్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియన్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అని చెప్పేసి, మొత్తం అదే ఉంటుంది. యూకే నుంచి మ్యాగజైన్ తీసుకుంటాం. Now, the British people, they came to India, they established their authority in India. They established their authority in India. Why? Because they are scientifically or technologically more advanced. They are technologically more advanced. Let's say majority of the technological developments in our Indian society are because of Western, are because of contacts with Western people. Okay, that's why whatever may be the changes, all the changes which are developed in our society because of contact with Western countries is called Westernization. But entire social change is not because of West, it is because of contact with some other societies also. Consider nowadays metro. This metro is not because of Western countries, it is because of Japan. Am I correct or not? Here there is one small differentiation. Either because of the Britishers or because of some other countries, certain technological changes were brought about in our Indian society. The social change which is brought about in any society, not only Indian society, the social change involving the elements of science and technology, that is called modernization. The social change involving the elements of science and technology is called modernization. Social change involving elements of science and technology. But majority of the science and technology elements, they are into India because of Britishers. That's why we can come across the modernization in the Westernization also. But entire modernization is not because of Westernization. Why? Because some modernization is because of increased contacts with Japan or Australia, like this. Understood? Majority of the technological developments are brought about in India because of Westernization. But entire modernization is not because of Westernization, it is because of some other. There is slight difference. Understood? The social change in Indian society because of increased contacts with Western countries is called Westernization. The social change which is brought about in Indian society because of the entry of science and technology elements is called modernization. Even though majority of modernization is because of Westernization, some modernization is not because of Westernization. These are the slight differences. Nowadays we can come across Westernization and modernization. In the olden days, sensitization was there. This is about social change. With this, the core concepts of Indian society are over. Okay. Tomorrow we'll start tribal India.